All right, it is time to get into some Pringles, and there's so many new ones that it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm trying to figure out whether Pringles went crazy or if it's just me. I'm going to taste test these Philly cheesesteak, but let's take a look at how many new flavors of Pringles just came out. It's really crazy. Hot ones, barbacoa, Pringles, hot honey. Now, something about that. The Candy Man in England, who is also a co host on Spill the Geek Tea, told me one time about trying honey on pizza with chili. And that was quite profound. I've actually started making my pizza with honey in the dough. Honey on pizza is absolutely excellent. Check out Spill the Geek Tea. It's a weekly variety show. It comes on every Sunday live. I'm a co-host on there, and I'm on there a lot. It's made by geeks for geeks. It's really fun, and we're foodies too. Okay, 7-layer dip. Now I remember Taco Bell had a 7-layer burrito, but I don't believe they have that anymore. It was one of my go-to favorites. Hot ones. Los Calientes, verde, green. Pringles, adobada, enchilada flavored Pringles. Texas barbecue brisket. I think you guys might have just seen something recently about a Texas barbecue scandal on here, so that's kind of ironic. Pringles all dressed. I have no idea what that means, and I have no idea what these images are of. That should be interesting. Pringles hot ones, rojo or red. I'll bet those are hot. Pringles everything bagel. I'm looking forward to those right there. That sounds cool. I prefer onion bagels myself. Those are my favorite. And of course, Pringles carnitas taco. But for today, we're going to focus on these Philly cheesesteak. Now, what is a Philly cheesesteak, you might ask? I've got your answer. According to this book right here, The Philadelphia Legacy, the original steak sandwich in America was at Pat's King of Steaks, and it came out around the year 1920. That was in South Philadelphia. The original Philly cheesesteak, or the original steak sandwich, did not have cheese, and that was something that was added at a later date. Pat was running a hot dog stand, and he was getting tired of hot dogs for his own lunch. So he went to an Italian-owned meat market down the street and picked up some sliced beef, and he was grilling it on his hot dog stand grill when a cab driver came by and said, "What are you making?" And Pat told him, "That's for me. This is my lunch." And the cab driver said, "Let me get one." So Pat sold his first steak sandwich to a cab driver in South Philadelphia circa 1920. Now, there's many ways that you can make a cheesesteak. This right here, to me, appears to have cheese whiz on it. It's just bread and sliced grilled steak. This does look like it has onions, and that really looks like cheese whiz. You can make them at home. They're really easy, and it doesn't matter what type of cheese you use. I suspect that this cheese right here, due to its stringiness and meltiness, is probably provolone. Here's another picture of a Philly cheesesteak, which also looks like it has cheese whiz and grilled onions. So you can keep it simple. Or you can make it more complex. This one here has grilled onions and grilled and red bell peppers. And it does appear to have melted American-style cheese food product. This is something that you would find in Texas. That's how they do it down there. Now, here's a picture of a Pat's King of Steaks Philly cheesesteak from Pat's King of Steaks recently, where you can see that it is grilled sliced beef, grilled onions, and cheese. I don't know when the onions were added. And then there's that thing about Cheese Whiz. It's an easy way to do it. That right there would probably have to be my favorite. And here's another example where it looks as if when adding the grilled red and green bell peppers, there are onions. Yet instead of Cheese Whiz, I think that is a melted American cheese food product, which also melts excellently on a burger on the grill. Okay, so let's take a look at these here. What I find interesting about this can is that it appears to be for the North American market and specifically the U.S. and Mexico. Now, a lot of the food products that we get in the U.S. are targeted for the U.S. and Canada, whereas the packaging would be in English and French. Now, on this one, the packaging is in English and Spanish. Now, taking a look at under the calories or nutritional information, I'm always looking for sodium. Okay. A serving is approximately 14 crisps, and the sodium intake would be 8% or 180 milligrams. So these are really, really high in sodium, as in maybe you shouldn't eat the whole can. I have hypertension, which is treated with 2 types of drugs, which I will take for the rest of my life, and I try to keep my salt and sodium down. Dried potatoes, vegetable oil, lots and lots of the typical ingredients: salt, sugar, onion powder, monosodium glutamate, garlic powder, dried yeast, cheddar cheese, spice, onion juice concentrate, whey. Now, I'm not seeing mention of any type of pepper here. Okay, there's paprika extract, but that's for color, buttermilk, and then annatto, which is also for color. Annatto is also what makes our cheese orange, such as cheddar cheese, which was originally from Cheddar, England. And then, of course, it's manufactured by Pringles in Jackson, Tennessee. And for some reason, there's something below it in Thai. So, yay to Pringles for telling us where this food is made. See, it's not that hard. A lot of food manufacturers just say distributed by, which really means nothing. And so these are made in Jackson, Tennessee. Awesome. I like knowing where my food comes from. All right, let's check these out. I think this mascot has a name, but it eludes me right now. Is it Mr. Pringle? Wow. The aroma is of Cheese Whiz. This smells exactly like Cheese Whiz. Seriously? I was not expecting that. So here's what's in the can. And of course, there's a promise on the side that says, "Nothing half full about this can." And it shows the fill level, and it's about right. Okay. And they all look pretty much intact. So here we are. Looks like a Pringle. Let's try it. Philly cheesesteak Pringles. I'm surprised. Where in the world is the bell pepper flavor coming from? Unless these are just tricking my brain into thinking they have bell peppers. because the majority of cheesesteaks that I've tried are in the South instead of the East, and they almost always have bell pepper, but I'm not seeing it. Onion powder. Isn't that something? To me, it has an artificial punch of an actual Philly cheesesteak sandwich. In fact, I can even taste the bread somehow. Okay, let's double up here. Got two at a time. Okay. Bursting with flavor, confirmed. Now, they do have monosodium glutamate, which creates umami. Monosodium glutamate got a bad rap in the US, particularly in the 90s. And it's all because of an unverified statement that some man made. And we'll go into that another day. Unfortunately, a lot of Asian restaurants were having to put plastic banners on their restaurants that said no MSG, which was absolutely ridiculous. And I believe that the umami that's coming from these is from the monosodium glutamate. But I'm very surprised. I was skeptical about these, and they nailed it. This is an actual taste of a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. But it's artificially glorified. Philly cheesesteaks don't typically have garlic in them. However, if the meat is seasoned correctly, the meat should be seasoned with salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. And that is something that was taught to me in person by Chef Kent Rathbun, formerly of Apicus in Dallas. We were enjoying an evening at his Dallas penthouse one night, and I asked him, what's the best way I can season a steak? And he told me that it was salt, pepper, onion, and garlic, and that's it. And this was at a time when he was introducing his own new steak seasoning. And he and his brother actually beat Bobby Flay on the very first episode of Iron Chef America. So I'll take his word for it. And as far as the garlic content of this, it's a little too much because the garlic should be reserved to the steak itself and not have an overpowering aroma of the sandwich itself. So for these right here, I'm going to rate them high because they exceeded my expectations. And I'm going to give them a 7.5 to 8 for exceeding expectations. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'd just rather have a Philly cheesesteak. In fact, I'm going to have to make one soon. So until next time, happy food tasting and peace out from